Hello, everyone. My name still remains Ope Oluwaoni, and welcome to this edition. And you notice that I'm doing this edition from a particular site of ours. Okay, so on this special edition, I deliberately want to do this video on this site, and today I'm going to be talking about due diligence. Okay, so basically, when you are buying a piece of land, one of the mistakes that you don't want to make is the mistake of due diligence. So um like, share, subscribe, click the you are going to learn a lot from this video, even though it's going to be one of the shortest video, and but I believe that you are going to still learn a lot from this video. So like I said, my name still remains Ope Oluwaoni. So today we are talking about due diligence. We started the journey talking about mistakes that you need to avoid when you buy a piece of landed property in Nigeria. So I'm somewhere here in K2 Ekpe, and this is one of our projects that we are starting very soon. So so after you define your purpose, you've set your budget, you've done the location, you started sourcing. So after you've gotten a place that you are going to buy, then due diligence is very important. So one of the first thing, I'm going to be using this project as an example. So the first time we got to this place, because it's an expanse of land, so we are buying for the purpose of land banking to resell, right? So the first thing that we did when we got to this project was basically to do our due diligence. Number one is I picked the coordinate the first time. It's not just to erect signboard. We didn't erect signboard the first time. So what we did was we picked the coordinate. So after charting it, we realized that, okay, this place is actually good for acquisition. So we now went ahead, have discussion with the family, do our underground investigation, have another set of discussion and all of that. So before we pick the coordinates, of course, we've done sourcing. So we've checked different locations and we realized that this is one of the best locations that we could acquire. Okay, so like I said, don't mind if there are any errors in the video. I'm currently on the site right now. Okay, so after we done the chatting, the surveyor advised us that we should go ahead. That is a place that is good. And note, this place we're actually going to be is from the primary market, so we are dealing with the landowners, and so we are not really dealing with people that have bought, that have perfected the title. So basically, they are almost as good as zero title on this particular land location. Okay, so the next thing that we did after doing that was, okay, they carved out the land. It was supposed to be a 30 acres to come and confirm the size of the land. And after that, we confirmed the size of the land. And we said, okay, see, guy, before we pay you any dime, we need to put our signboard here so that if there are no issues after installing the signboard, then we can go ahead and sign a contract. Okay, so that is the way due diligence work, and especially for primary market. Okay, so I decided to do this on site, and subsequently we are still going to talk about other things that you can do on due diligence. So this signboard now has been here for almost a week, so no issues on the land. We intend to put it there for 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, that is when we're going to now say, okay, let's take it to the next level. Okay, so my name still remains Ope Oluwaoni, and this video has not ended, so we'll go back to the class to continue this video. Okay, welcome back to class. Okay, I'm still the same person. Okay, so the first set of video you watch are basically I was on the site and I felt that, okay, one of the best way to really pass home that very point was for me to pass it home on that particular project. Okay, so let's continue. So we are still looking at how to avoid the mistakes of due diligence. Very important. So I'm just going to run through some of the things that I believe will help you, and universally acceptable due diligence that you need to carry out on a piece of land before you take the decision to buy it. Okay, so my name still remains Okweoluwa once again, and you can like, share, and subscribe to this very channel page, and you follow me. Okay, so we've looked at the mistakes of purpose, we've looked at the mistakes of location, sourcing, budget. Now it is due diligence, and after due diligence we'll be looking at the mistakes of negotiation. So because when you are buying, I often say this, that one of the greatest mistakes you can ever make is to be emotionally attached to a property properties are basically investment, and you need to see it that way. Of course, there's going to be some measure of emotional attachment here and there, but you need to find a way to detach yourself emotionally from a piece of property. Okay, so this is one of the most important parts in acquiring a piece of property in Nigeria. When we look at due diligence, okay, it is one of the most important parts, and I want us to listen carefully to some of these points that I have noted down because they are based on experiences. There are two ways to learn, and the pain of pleasure and the pain of from experience. So these are from pain of experience, so that you will not fall into the same trap and all of that. Okay, so the type of due diligence you carry it out will determine where you are sourcing your property from. So you're either sourcing from the primary market or you're sourcing from the secondary market. Okay, so basically the primary market is when you are buying directly from the indigenous, just like the video, the first part of this video that you watched when I was on the land. So we bought directly from the indigenous. So the kind of sourcing that we do is different, and the kind of due diligence that we do too is a little bit different. But there are something that both primary and secondary market have in common, which I'm going to be addressing, and I'll be touching for primary market and secondary market too. Okay, so your due diligence is a critical part to carry out. It's very, very, very critical. So land is basically a bundle of rights. Due diligence is what determines the rights that you hold on a particular property. Okay, so when you look at a piece of land, let's say it's 1,000 square meter piece of land, you cannot park that 1,000 square meter, put it in your pocket and take it home. Unlike you buy a piece of clothes, you buy a phone, you buy a laptop, you pick it, you pack it, you test it there, and take it home, and you get some rights, warranties, receipts, and all of those things. Those products belongs to you. Unlike land or any piece of property, if you reside in Lagos, for instance, and you buy a piece of property in Abuja, you cannot pack that property to Lagos. All you do is that you own it where it is. And what you have are rights, documents that gives you ownership to that property. That's why property law is a little bit trickish, and it requires expertise to guide you when it comes to this whole due diligence thing. Okay, so it is those rights that you buy into that give you ownership to whatever property you have. Okay, not under no condition that you should do a due diligence that is not thorough. Under no condition that you should do a due diligence that is not thorough. So not conducting a thorough due diligence is the main error when it comes to buying a piece of property. Not conducting a due diligence that is thorough is one main error that you do not in any way want to find yourself in. So your due diligence needs to be as thorough as possible. So let's now look at the definition. So what basically due diligence is. So it is a comprehensive investigation and analysis of a property to ensure buyers are well informed. So the fact that, okay, let me just finish the definition, are well informed about the risks and potential issues associated with the purchase. So there can be risk, there can be potential associated with the purchase, but you need to be informed so that it will not get you what? Unaware. So that is the definition of due diligence. So I'll repeat it again. It is a comprehensive investigation and analysis of a property to ensure buyer is well informed about the risk and potential issues associated with the purchase. That is basically the definition of due diligence. Okay, so we are now going to look at what are the areas you need to do due diligence on. So I just itemized about 10 of them, and we are going to be looking at that as time permits. Okay, number one is title. So you need to understand what title does this property as. You need to have that understanding. Understanding this will help you a great deal to even know, okay, especially for those of us that buy to resell, you should know that, okay, what title, because a lot of people will ask you, what title, what title, what title? And it will help you to understanding the title will help you to know the title you can get on that piece of property, and it will help you to know the transfer and the ownership that the ownership you're going to be transferring to whoever is buying from you. Number two is history. Okay, history of that property. So history of ownership and also history of dispute. So if there's any form of dispute on that property, you need to understand that is very, very important. It will help you to prepare in case some of those history show up again. If you learn from history, you will not repeat history. So if you don't learn from history, that's when you repeat history. So that's number two. Number three is whatever legal encumbrances that it has, whatever legal encumbrances that it has. Okay, so what are the type of legal encumbrances that it can have? So basically, maybe there was a title transfer, maybe there's a deed of partition on it, and maybe there was a legal dispute at some point on it. All these things are very, very, very important. Maybe there's a court injunction on it, maybe there's an ongoing litigation on it. All these are very, very important. Okay, so what the investment viability too is very, very important. So because you are not just buying, like I said, you should treat every piece of property like an investment. So you are not just buying because you are for buying sake. I remember I often ask people, why do you want to buy a property? Most of the time, just emotional attachment. That's the reason why a lot of people buy property that they buy. Okay, some people buy because my friends are buying property, me too, I want to buy property. Okay, so investment viability too is very, very important. Then number five is the topography and environmental impact. What is the topography and environmental impact of that property? You building on that property, is there a river or a canal that pass through your property? So you need to have that. You need to envisage it and have it at the back of your mind that something might happen to that property in the future. Okay, that's very, very important. Unforeseen pitfall and possibilities. Unforeseen pitfalls and possibilities. So what are the issues that can come up on that property in the future? You need to project it. And some of the ways you can do this, some of the ways we do it is that anywhere we want to buy property, we investigate other people that have bought property and ask them what were the challenges that they have faced. Okay, it's part of our own investigation. So it helps you to mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, and guard yourself to know that, okay, these are the problems that I might also face when buying this same property. So let me be prepared while I'm buying such property. Then any other, which is number 7 now, any other vested interest. Any other vested interest. So any other vested interest is the community leader, especially when you're buying from the primary market, is the community leader, the ballers, the olori ebi, is the youth leaders. What are the vested interests on that property? Okay, the family you are buying from, has there been a situation whereby some people have maybe it happens to be that it is two brothers that own the property, and one of them is dead, but he has children, and it's the other person I want to say, what about if those other children grow up and say they didn't know anything about the property that was sold? So these are vested interests of that property. Then number 8 is government interest. What are the government interests you need to investigate? What are the government interests in terms of the natural resources of that area and future plan? Is the government planning to put a rail, road, public place, green area? Is there anything like that planned in all those locations? You need to be sure. You need to be sure. So in some of these investigations, you might need to engage professionals. You might need to engage people that are experienced in those areas. Okay, all those vested interests are key. So what other issues that you need to um, 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 investigate is the seller and ownership. So who is the seller? Who is the owner? There have been cases whereby the seller is not the owner and the owner is not the seller. So you need to investigate it. So who is the owner? What gives the person the right of ownership? What gave the seller the right of ownership? Was it that the seller was given a mandate to sell? All those details are very, very important. Then number next is community interest too. Community interest. So what is the interest of the community concerning that land? Hope is not their ancestral land. Hope is not their hope the land is not what the shrine, or maybe the shrine of that community is on that land, or maybe there's a ancient burial ground on that land. So those have different vested interests that can occur on that land. Then number next is boundaries. You need to investigate the boundary and establish the boundary of what is being sold to you carefully so that there won't be boundary dispute in the future. Okay, number next is dues and unpaid levies. Dues and unpaid levies. Are there any local government fee that they're supposed to have paid? So because if you are buying a piece of property, for instance, and there are dues and unpaid levy on that piece of property, if you just barge into it and you do not do your due diligence very well, most of the time what will happen is that you are just buying a liability. For instance, you buy a property for maybe 10 million naira and there's a liability on paid dues of 15 million on it. Okay, so those are some of the challenges that you might have to face. So you need to investigate and investigate again. Okay, right of passage, water, pipeline, and power line. So on that land, hope there have not been cases whereby the people that are selling to you have been paid by government. Sometimes they go to that, okay, a pipeline is going to pass this place, or there's even a pipeline buried under the land. All these things you need to investigate. I remember we bought the property, wanted to buy a property in Port Harcourt one time, in our farm. And the indigenous said, no, they are going to sell to us, blah, blah, blah. The price looked good. And we took a surveyor to the place. And the surveyors told us that there's a pipeline that has been buried under that place. And he did a search for us, did an investigation for us, and he realized that the same family that want to sell to us has been paid about 50 years ago. That's right. Not only the place where the pipeline is passing, but some few meters to the right, some few meters to the left has been paid for. So most of their land is already gone. And there's no even access road to the one at the back. So all those things you need to find, investigate and find out. Okay. The next is access to this access disputes. Okay. I mean, this is very, very important also, because I remember many years ago, we bought a property, and the owner of that property gave, it was just more or less like a verbal agreement that, okay, you people, this is my land, I have a CO, I've done CO on it, but you people still have land at the back, so I'll give you a footpath temporarily that you go and create a permanent access somewhere else that you people will be using to access your land to get to your farm. And I'm talking to you right now. That footpath has turned to a 30-feet road. So the guy lost acres of land. He tried to take them to court and all of those things. But in this part of the world, some of those things don't really work out. I remember we bought a property too in Port Harcourt too. And while we were doing the investigation, the coordinates were picked and all of those things. And we realized that that place is going to be flood-prone area. That's talking about the natural environmental dispute of that piece of land. It was going to be a flood-prone area, and the guy warned us that this place is around the greater Port Harcourt area, that this place is going to have flood in the future. So run away from it. Okay. So a few points as we round up this section, and I believe you might need to watch this video over and over and over again to get the meat of this video. So sometimes your due diligence can be a preliminary stage. Yes, it can be in phases too. So because most of this investigation, you just don't do it once. That's why I often advise people, when you are buying a piece of property, you do not pay once. You don't just pay off like that, because some of the outcomes of this due diligence will help you in your bargaining and negotiation. You need to take note of that. So the outcome of this due diligence will help you as you bargain, because a property that has title and a property that does not have title does not sell the same amount. Okay, it will also help you in the areas of your documentation. I think I mentioned something like that too earlier, to help you a great deal in the area of your documentation, and it will also help you to understand the local laws and rights on land. So when you are doing all this investigation, it will help you to understand what are the local laws and what are the rights on land, what are the customary rights and all those things and it will help you a great deal. And one of the other things that you need to due diligence will help you to understand is that it will help you to have a rapport with the community better. I'm still going to talk about the community mistakes in this series, so it will help you to, it will foster the good foundation in your relationship with the community that you are buying into. Because one thing a lot of people don't understand is that this community are going to be your neighbors forever. So you don't want a situation whereby you're having a dispute with them from the beginning. Okay, so I hope this has made a lot of sense. I hope you've gained one or two things from it. So beyond just searching for title, some of these areas are areas that you need to work upon. So my name still remains Okpe Oluwa Oni. Try as much as possible to watch this video over and over again. Okay, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Okay, thank you. Have a great one.